Welcome back, folks, to Let's Play Imperium Galactica. Today, a look at the star map. Or, actually, let's pause the game for a second, because I want to talk about a topic that is very important in this stage of the game. And that is my... I just love this topic. I love to research things. So, let's talk about research. And for that, we press...
Equipment, production,
Nope.
research.
There we go. F6. Now, I'm going to run you through the basics of research in this chapter, because I think this is a very important part that everyone should understand before we actually move forward in the game. So every research that you see here, or every category actually, there is a research available for it. So for example, in the spaceship category, there's a subcategory fighters, where we have researched already Fighter 1 and Fighter 2. However, we lack Fighter 3. Now, if we want to research Fighter 3, we would need civil... what is that, civilian? I'm not even sure.
Colony.
Let me
Star
check
map.
quickly, because I'm not too sure about
Colony.
the actual
Colony
names of these
information.
things.
Buildings.
We need civil engineering, mechanics, computer, AI, and military development centers on every one of our planets. Mind you though, we can only build one development center per planet. So right now we have one computer, one AI, and one military. You see that on these numbers here. So we do not have any mechanics or civil engineering.
Research.
Going back to this screen, that means the following. We would need 0 civil engineering, 1 mechanics, 2 computer, 2 AI, and 2 military research development centers to research this item completely. However, the point of this actually is, when you do not have the research, you can research this item to half its time. So if you see a time here, like in this case 572, well, I don't know, time values, whatever that might be. In this case it's not seconds, I believe. It's probably something in-game that it's just timed like that. So you need 572 time values to research this item completely if every of these requirements is met. However, we do not have that, of course, so we can only research for about 200 and... don't let me lie, 286 seconds before it's stopped, because we don't have the required research facilities. So that's one thing you should note. Now for spaceships, of course, because they are like military things, you will need most of the time something like military, maybe AI, maybe computer, and most of the time mechanics as well. The Destroyer 2, for example, cannot be developed because it needs pulse lasers to be developed first. So let's quickly go through the list actually. At this rank we have Fighter 3, Cruiser 1, which is already one ship that we own, but it's not researched on our part. Nothing in flagships yet. We've got a spy satellite, which is quite useful if we build one mechanics. We've got a space station, which is definitely required to continue, because we need that to build flagships. But to that part, much later in the game. Then, on to equipment. We've got the hyperdrive, V2, modules, cargo pod in this case. The cargo pod itself is actually already... no, it's not researched. Okay. For some reason. Well, it can be started, it seems. Why not so ever? It can actually be started. Now it's actually cargo pod, before it was something different. So we need 1 civil engineering to build a cargo pod. The cargo pod itself is required to transport tanks on flagships. Every cargo pod on a flagship can hold up to 8 tanks, meaning we could have 3 flagships, which is the maximum in the fleet, filled up with 24 tanks each. With 8 tanks each, sorry. So one flagship can carry 1 cargo pod, so we have 3 cargo pods per fleet, meaning 24 tanks, no matter what tanks actually. So we can have 24 medium tanks, 24 light tanks, and a mixture of them both. Then we've got the radars, in this case the field array. Field arrays are long-range radars compared to the normal radar arrays, so they can be used to have a higher radar range on ships, on fleets rather, that you might detect your enemies from further away. Shields, we've got nothing in shields here right now. Weapons, pulse lasers, of course quite important because it's required for Destroyer 2. However, as you can see, it will require us to deconstruct one of the AI centers into military and then add the last 2 facilities that we have into mechanics. So that's also one big issue in this point, is that sometimes you will need to deconstruct your current development centers and build new ones on that planet instead, so you can research different items. I will be drawing a list here somewhere on my computer, not right now because I don't have the time for that, but I will be preparing that for next video, hopefully, if I've got the time. And then I will be crossing out things that I actually have researched so I don't forget about them, and also do note the little bit of number of development centers that I need for that. Right now we have 6 planets, and we can only have, of course, 6 research centers, or 6 development centers, so that will limit our research for the time being. Guns, we have the ion gun, which can be equipped on flagships later. Bombs and missiles are already done. We have the medium tank here, which will require a maximum of 6 in this case, and the medium tank is also something I want to construct very, very soon, because it's actually a lot better than the light tank. As you can see down here, the stats are actually here. So the fire range is 2, speed 5 and armor 3 on the light tank. And the medium tank has a firing range of 4, speed of 4 and an armor of 4. So it's quite superior to the light tank, although a little bit slower. There are also different vehicles that we might employ on our ground assaults, which would be the radar car and the rocket sled. Rocket sled itself is quite okay, because it fires a huge amount of range in its missiles. However, it's very lightly armored and doesn't have many hit points, so it will go down pretty fast if enemy tanks are close to it. However, you don't need to think about that right now, because as you can see, it requires a total of 8 development centers to construct that thing actually. Then in buildings, and as you can see here too, it requires a lot of civil engineering. And I will be going for the power plant quite soon if I capture a planet, because as you can see, it requires 6, so we could actually do this, which would be a possibility too. Food factories are an improvement on the normal hydroponics, so we can use them instead of gathering more food on a colony. Inversion shields would possibly divert enemy bombs and missiles from our colony back to the enemy ships, which can be useful, but I try to fight in the space, so I don't have the colony guns most of the time with me. But for early defenses, this might be actually a good thing. Colony radars, field telescope, actually the same as the field array, just the stationary version. And the plasma projector as a colony defense method, and as you can see, it requires 8. We don't have that kind of research right now available, so we cannot do this right now. So let's have a look at what we can actually research right now. So I do want to research this cruiser because I want to get rid of the destroyers as quickly as I can. So I will be starting this research for now. Actually, let's look at the spy satellite. No, we need mechanics here first. So
Research started.
let's start that. And also, you should increase the money for this research immediately, so it's researched a little bit faster. So we have 24,000 credits, and it will get drained slowly in this case, because it's not diverted immediately from your credits. It will be diverted slowly over time. And also, increasing this money income will halve the time. Just as you see there, 277, just halved. So that's one thing. Now, let's continue this a little bit and see how actually fast this goes. So it seems it goes up for every 10 minutes, 1 second down. So that's actually a good thing. Now,
Bridge.
let's go to the star map and have a look. So we have an additional colony called Zuzon, which is located up here on the left top hand corner. And in completion, we've got 6 planets now available as our disposal. And there will be some attacks of the Gartha coming in from the from right hand side at some point. But I'm not too worried about that right now. So let's move our guys over to Achilles. And for some reason there's not enough living space. So, whoa!
Colony.
Okay, I can see why there's not enough living space, because no freaking buildings are here. Okay, well, that's not much of a problem right now,
Star map.
because I don't have the cash to really do this. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit.
Items produced.
And that's actually good. As you can see, it's lagging a little bit because the map has been expanded, but hopefully this will resolve itself later on. Let's go to Achilles. Alright, let's go to the equipment screen and get our
New ship added. New
last
ship
few
added.
destroyers
New
here.
ship added.
And as you can see now, we have 23 of 25 ships in the fleet. So I do want to replace my destroyers quite quickly with new ships from the fleet, like cruisers. So for the moment, I would like
Star map.
to build
Colony.
2 mechanics development centers.
Buildings.
So I'm going to go this, and then search for a planet where there's nothing yet built. And wow, that's actually pretty darn close to my income here.
Colony
Alright, so let's have a
information.
look at what the tax ratings are right now. Well, that is Zuzon probably.
Buildings.
So let's build prefab housing here.
Colony.
So the guys actually have something to live in. Do we
Colony
actually need
information.
food? Yeah, I think food
Buildings.
would be okay.
Colony.
Hydroponics for now. How much energy? 4,000.
Buildings.
Not really a lot. Cannot build fusion plants.
Colony.
So let's build a nuclear one.
Colony information.
And that should be it for the time being, indeed. And we need some energy
Buildings.
here as well.
Colony.
So let's do that. I would like to actually have a possibility to make these planed here, so I can build stuff on it.
Colony information.
Nothing like this, unfortunately. So this is Achilles, which is looking good. Alright.
Star map.
Go back to the star map and increase speed. So our goal in this part of the game is to destroy the Garthic Empire on the right hand side. Which shouldn't be too difficult actually, but it might get dragged on a little. So I'm not
Research
too
stopped.
worried about that. Yeah, now
Bridge.
research has stopped because we do not
Research.
have enough. You get pointed where it's actually going. You get pointed at the things that have stopped completing. So the more of these buildings you actually have, the more time you can invest into this research. So for example, if we would like go to the fighter now, we wouldn't gain so much with it, unfortunately. Actually, yeah, it's still on the cruiser, which I could be switching over to the fighter right now.
Research stopped. Research started.
And now we would research the fighter. for the time being anyway. We can't do much with it, mind you, but a few percentages are possible. We don't get that much income anyway, so we have to think about where we place it. So I'm gonna stop the research here now,
Research
at least for the
stopped.
fighter, because we don't need that right now. I just wanted to show you that you can actually research different objects after you've done the first ones, for example. But we can start the spy
Research
satellite,
started.
which I do want to use quite quickly.
Star map.
So let's increase the speed here.
Message. Bridge.
And there's a message from my wife. Hello, dear.
Happy birthday, hun. I really miss you a lot. Right now I'm off to see some friends. Yes, class reunion. Well, I guess you should come, but now I'll see ya.
Well, for some reason I think she's not that fond of me anymore. I'm not sure why. Also, you can now ask about sit reps on the different colonies that you own. But we don't need that right now, really. We could do it,
Star
but it's
map.
always the same answer. So, and I think I'm going to speed this up until the next day, so I can build the required research center to research the spy satellite completely. And I think then we're gonna end this video, because I want to draw this list before we continue on, so I have a little bit of an overview about what I have and what I don't have.
Colony.
Also, I would really
Buildings.
would like to point this out, that you should probably make yourself a list
Colony.
about the buildings you actually have, and not the buildings, the research options that you have, what it costs to research them, and what you don't have yet. So you can have a good overview about what you need and what you don't need. That helped me a lot during my
Star
first
map.
playthroughs, and I then had a very good overview about what I need for certain research options. Especially in the later game, there will be quite a lot of different research options available to you, and you might lose a little bit of track with all the research options available to you. So for now, I'm going to say save the day, and when we come back, folks, more on Imperium Galactica and its research. So see ya then, folks.